Not everyone will understand what I'm about to reveal here. Only those who have already felt that something greater is guiding the unseen. There is a prayer not about fancy words, but about spiritual positioning. A simple practice done in the morning that has the power to activate divine favor, open invisible doors, and transform the way you attract opportunities. Few know this, but success begins with prayer. Not the kind made out of habit, but the kind born from a true encounter with the Creator right when you wake up. Napoleon Hill, when talking about the power of the mind and faith, already sensed it. Thought is magnetic, but prayer gives it direction. And when done in the morning, before the world tries to contaminate you with chaos, it places you in a position of inner victory. The secret of effective prayer is not about how long you pray, but the intention. And there's a hidden code that most ignore, a way of praying that not only strengthens the spirit, but also prepares the mind to attract ideas, solutions, and even money. Yes, money, because prayer isn't an escape from reality, it's alignment with it. The most shocking part is coming next. And it may forever change your understanding of success, abundance, protection, and destiny. If this introduction stirred something in you, like this video, comment from the heart and share it with someone who needs to learn how to start their day the right way. How you wake up can determine the energy you carry for the rest of the day. When someone chooses to begin with sincere prayer, they're not just speaking to God, they're reconnecting with the source of their existence. The body may still be tired, but the spirit, once activated early in the morning, receives a strength no physical food can offer. That energy sustains, inspires, and protects even on the hardest days. While many people wake up thinking about bills, tasks, or deadlines, a few choose differently. Start your day like this, in silence, eyes barely open, whispering to the Creator, "Here I am. Strengthen me, guide me." It might seem small, but in that moment, you're being renewed from within. A strengthened soul faces the day with a different posture, with a broader vision. Imagine a father sitting at the edge of his bed in the early morning and before anything else, offering his day to God. He may face traffic, pressure, and tough decisions, but he walks out spiritually charged. That's the invisible power that carries great men and women through life. And there's a deeper reason behind this, which you're about to discover. Even before stepping out of the house, invisible battles are already unfolding. Unexpected situations, harsh words, distractions, bad decisions. But those who pray in the morning clothe themselves with something beyond logic: spiritual protection. It's not superstition, it's positioning. It's like putting on the armor of God before putting on your shoes. Prayer doesn't stop the fight from coming. It stops you from facing it alone. Many walk through life unguarded, relying only on their own strength. Others, wiser, understand that real safety doesn't come from a locked door, but from the presence that walks beside them. Only a few know that by declaring early in the day that God is in control, they're activating spiritual coverage that operates beyond what the eyes can see, that has no price. That is spiritual intelligence. A young man, for example, who prays before going to school or work, doesn't know what he'll face, but he knows one thing: he's not left to chance. He's already handed the day over to the one who sees all. That's applied faith. That's conscious prudence. And maybe the most curious part of it all is that this protection also prepares the mind for something even more essential. The mind wakes up full, scattered thoughts, doubts, memories, plans, worries. But when someone decides to pray first thing in the morning, everything starts to fall into place. It's like cleaning a fogged-up window. The vision clears, the weight lifts, and decisions gain direction. Morning prayer doesn't eliminate problems, but it shifts your perspective. Then that changes everything. Often, the real issue isn't the situation, but how we view it. How to transform your mornings. Start by handing your confusion over to God. He's not expecting perfect words, only a sincere heart. When you pray, something happens within. The heart slows down. The mind finds balance. Emotions calm. That clarity becomes one of your strongest weapons for a productive day filled with wiser choices and more grounded responses. Think of someone surrounded by constant demands: work, kids, bills, goals. That person takes just 5 minutes to pray before jumping into the tasks, gifting themselves with something invisible. Focus. Prayer acts like a filter. It helps you discern what's truly valuable, what can wait, and what's just noise. And in that state of clarity, something new begins to align. As soon as you open your eyes, your mind gets hit with noise, worries, pressures, distractions. But when someone chooses to pray before anything else, something deep begins to happen. Your thoughts start to align with what's eternal. The world's noise fades, and God's voice begins to rise. Meeting with God early in the morning is more than devotion. It's a life strategy. Morning prayer is like tuning a radio. If you don't adjust the frequency, all you hear is static. But when you find the right station, everything shifts. The mind connects upward, your thoughts gain purpose, and what once seemed confusing begins to make sense. Prayer is this: opening the day by asking heaven what truly matters. And when this becomes a habit, your decisions gain more wisdom and less impulse. A business person, for example, who begins the day aligning their mind with God's thoughts, starts to see opportunity where others only see problems. Because prayer sharpens your discernment. It's like adjusting your steering wheel before hitting the road. Small misalignments, if not corrected early, lead to major detours. But when your thinking is aligned with heaven, your entire journey changes. There's a powerful key hidden in the first words of your day: gratitude. When someone wakes up and, before complaining or worrying, gives thanks, they're planting seeds that will bloom throughout the day. Morning prayer that begins with gratitude completely shifts your inner atmosphere. It removes focus from what's missing and highlights what you already have. That's emotional and spiritual strength. Transform your spiritual routine by starting with thanks. A grateful mind sees beauty where others see routine. A simple thank you, God, for another day can break cycles of emotional scarcity and feed your hope. Because those who are grateful for little prepare their hearts to receive more. It's an invisible principle, yet incredibly real. Gratitude opens doors where complaining shuts them. Hope grows when you look up and recognize, I'm alive, and that's already a miracle. Picture someone with bills to pay, pain to process, and big challenges ahead. And yet, that person chooses to start the day with gratitude. They're not denying reality. They're choosing what kind of energy will guide their actions. And the hope born from this posture doesn't come from outside. It rises from within. And that hope, leads you toward an even deeper strength. Most people rely too much on external outcomes to feel secure, but there's a confidence that rises from the spirit, the kind that comes when someone early in the morning connects with God and hears in the silence of the soul, I am with you. That changes everything. Faith that moves results isn't just believing things will work out. It's knowing that even when they don't, you will still be guided, sustained, empowered. This spiritual confidence doesn't depend on compliments, isn't shaken by criticism, and doesn't fade in the face of obstacles. It's built in secret, in quiet moments with God, through prayers no one sees, but heaven always hears. When you start your day remembering who created you, who called you, and who walks with you, you stand differently. It changes your posture. Take a woman, for instance, who faces a hostile work environment. She prays in the morning, not asking to escape reality, but to face it with wisdom and courage. That daily prayer builds a strength inside her that doesn't come from books, courses, or motivational speeches. It's an unshakable conviction. And the more she prays, the more she realizes she was never meant to carry the weight alone. The mind tends to create worries even before they're real. Anxious thoughts, negative projections, hidden fears take shape as soon as the day begins. But those who pray first thing in the morning surrender control to heaven, and that changes the weight they carry. The secret of effective prayer lies in unburdening the heart from what was never yours to carry. When someone kneels to pray, even with simple words like "God, take care of what I can't," a liberation begins. Anxiety loses strength. The urge to control everything fades, and a new space opens up. Space to trust. Morning prayer is like dropping unnecessary baggage before boarding the train. You move lighter, more present, more free. Think of someone with a packed day, traffic, meetings, responsibilities. They wake up, take a deep breath, and before rushing into it all, they pray. It doesn't change what has to be done, but it changes how they walk through it. Because now they know they're not alone, and what's out of their hands is already in God's. And when that weight lifts, something surprising begins to shift inside their own home. The way you start your day defines the energy you spread. A home where morning prayer is practiced, even in silence, carries something different. Words spoken to God fill the atmosphere. And this isn't just poetic, it's perceptible. When someone prays in the morning, they're not just speaking to heaven. They're blessing each room, each step, each conversation that's yet to happen. Transform your spiritual routine and you'll notice the shift around you. A house covered in prayer is like an invisible fortress. Arguments decrease, conversations become more respectful, and even the children sense something sacred is present. It's not about religion, it's about atmosphere. The world outside may be chaotic, but when you create peace inside your home, you begin to experience a softer, more human reality that's aligned with what truly matters. Think of a woman who wakes before everyone else and prays in the kitchen. Before the coffee is even ready. She's not just preparing breakfast, she's preparing peace. And that peace spreads. It affects how she speaks to her spouse, how she handles the kids, how she responds to problems. It's in that simple act, prayer, that a firm, spiritually rooted home begins to take shape. And this, quietly, opens the way for something that may seem small, but changes everything. Time is a sacred and scarce resource. Many people are constantly rushing, trying to do everything, yet feeling like they accomplished nothing. But someone who starts the day in prayer asks for something. Beyond speed, they ask for direction. And with direction, time expands. The power of consistency in morning prayer teaches you how to organize your priorities with clarity. It's not about doing more, but doing what matters with purpose. In prayer, you connect with the one who sees the full picture. And by saying, "Lord, guide my time today," you're handing over your agenda for heaven to arrange. That may mean saying no to distractions, or yes to something small that turns out to be key. A day that begins with prayer transforms into a divinely orchestrated flow. Delays make sense. Encounters become divine appointments. Pauses turn into preparation. Think of an overwhelmed professional who barely has time to breathe. But they take a few minutes in the morning before the emails and tasks to pray. They don't gain extra hours, but they gain discernment about what truly matters. And that's priceless. Because time spent without purpose is waste. But time guided by God produces results that far exceed the clock. There are moments in the day when everything seems to spin out of control, a call that shifts your direction, an encounter you didn't expect, a sensitive situation demanding wisdom. That's when the value of morning prayer is revealed. Because those who begin the day with God activate an invisible covering that operates when logic breaks down. Prayer that opens doors isn't just the one that asks, it's the one that invites divine action ahead of time. Divine favor is receiving what you didn't earn. A solution before the crisis escalates. An unexpected yes. Protection you didn't even know you needed. And often, it's the result of a life that begins each day aligned with heaven. When you pray in the morning and say, "God, go ahead of me," you're clearing the path for Him to act before you even arrive. Take a young person heading into a job interview, unsure of what to expect. But they've already prayed that morning with faith, okay? And they're surrounded by something others call luck, but heaven calls favor. And this favor, when it becomes part of your daily spiritual routine, begins to show up in areas you hadn't even considered. And the most surprising part is that this favor isn't meant for you alone. The Bible is full of promises, but they only come alive when remembered, declared, and believed. And the best time for that is early in the morning, while your mind is still setting the tone for the day. Those who pray in the morning and recall God's words start the day on solid ground. It doesn't matter what's happening around them. There's a promise holding them up inside. Success begins with prayer because it reactivates what God has already guaranteed. When you say in prayer, "His mercies are new every morning," it's not just a beautiful verse, it's a decree. It's truth taking shape in your spirit and directing your steps. Remembering God's promises at dawn is like a shield against thoughts of lack, fear, and doubt. Faith is strengthened when it's fed with the Word, and prayer is the perfect moment for that nourishment. Imagine a man facing financial stress. He prays in the morning, declaring, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." In doing so, he's not ignoring his reality. He's connecting to a promise that transcends the crisis, and that daily practice shapes not only his faith, but how he sees, reacts, and lives. And when your vision is renewed, your focus also begins to change. The day tends to pull us in 1,000 directions. Social media shouts, urgencies pile up, comparisons invade. But those who pray first learn to silence the noise and listen to what truly matters. How to transform your mornings. Start by aligning your vision with heavenly values. When you know what really counts, you avoid wasting energy on things that lead nowhere. This is one of modern life's greatest riches. Focus with purpose. Morning. Prayer adjusts the heart. You stop chasing everything and start walking with intention. It's not about passivity, but about being deliberate. When you say, "Lord, show me what has eternal value today," you begin filtering voices, tasks, and invitations. And you realize that often, less is more. Saying no becomes an act of wisdom, and running nonstop isn't always progress. A professional who prays before opening their schedule is better equipped to discern what's relevant and what's just noise. They don't get lost in soulless tasks because they began the day with purpose in their spirit. And it's in this clarity that they start to find strength to overcome subtle challenges that aren't always visible to the eye. Every day brings inner battles. Some are visible, others only you feel. Recure the urge to respond in anger, the desire to give up, the temptation to fall back into old habits. But those who pray in the morning strengthen themselves from within. It's not magic, it's preparation. Victory before getting out of bed means starting the day already clothed in spiritual strength, ready to resist what used to easily knock you down. In prayer, you connect with the source of steadfastness. It's there you say, "Lord, help me choose what's right, even when wrong seems easier." This intimate, honest conversation builds resistance. What once seemed irresistible loses its shine. Because your soul is nourished, your mind renewed, and your spirit prepared. Prayer doesn't remove temptation, but it gives you dominion over it. Think of someone struggling to control impulsive reactions, whether in words, habits, or attitudes. When this person prays before leaving home, they activate an inner alert. Throughout the day, even when provoked, they remember their prayer. This is spiritual wisdom applied, and it's this kind of strength that makes you more sensitive to a presence that's always there, waiting to be heard. Many people live on autopilot, doing, saying, reacting, but not perceiving. Morning prayer pulls you out of this mechanical mode and places you in a state of presence. When someone prays early, they create a sacred space inside where the voice of the Holy Spirit can be heard more clearly. Faith that moves results is built on this sensitivity. It doesn't come from noise, but from silence. And those who learn to listen begin to walk with more ease. The Holy Spirit speaks, but doesn't shout. He whispers. And to hear, you need stillness. That's why morning prayer is so valuable. It prepares your heart's soil to receive guidance, warnings, and comfort. You start noticing things that previously went unnoticed. Small nudges become important. Ordinary situations turn into encounters, and even tough decisions are made with peace. Here's a clear example. A person who prays in the morning feels uneasy accepting a seemingly good invitation. Instead of following impulse, they stop, reflect, listen, and realize it wasn't the best path. This is spiritual sensitivity. And the more you cultivate this listening space early, the more your life is led and less driven by anxiety. And when this happens, the world around you begins to feel the effect. A true life of prayer never stays contained. It overflows. When someone starts their day seeking God, that connection generates effects far beyond their bedroom walls. Words change, eyes change, actions become more intentional. And without realizing it, this person begins to impact those around them. Transform your spiritual routine, and your routine starts to transform others. It's not about preaching with words, but with posture. The peace you carry after praying spreads. The firmness in your decisions inspires. The serenity in the storms sparks curiosity. People who never prayed begin to ask what you do differently. And it all started there, in the morning silence. That moment when you chose to seek God before the world. Imagine a parent who prays daily. Without saying a word, the children begin to sense something different in the home. A coworker notices calm, presence, balance. A friend sees wisdom in your answers. That's how the world starts to be touched, one awakened soul every day, reflecting the light received. And that light is only the beginning of something greater. You just discovered that morning prayer is not just a spiritual act. It's a life strategy, a silent practice that strengthens, protects, guides, and transforms not only your day, but your destiny. The world is full of distractions, but those who choose to start with God live with more purpose, presence, and inner power. Living and feeling deeply is the path to transforming your own reality. And when you decide to pray, before doing anything else, you're telling the universe, I know who sustains me. You don't just get up, you take your position. And when you stand with faith, heaven moves in your favor. If this video spoke to you, like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel. The world needs awakened people, and maybe you're one of them. Comment below. I decide to start my days with God. And remember, morning prayer doesn't just change your day, it changes you. And when you change, everything around you begins to change too.